Welcome to the first ever Caramel Don't Care video. Today I want to take a look at Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash's Hidden Inventory DLC. If I'm honest, 2024 started off pretty badly and I was really hoping that the new Jujutsu Kaisen game would fix it. I was wrong. In my honest opinion, I think Cursed Clash is a pretty good game, but it's been buried in its flaws and it's really overhated. But don't get me wrong, I think a very large amount of the hate is also justified. On the other hand, though, I do believe in second chances, and if they keep cooking up like they were cooking with this DLC, this game's gonna make a very good comeback. Maybe like No Man's Sky or Cyberpunk. But to be honest, it is a bit too early to know. So let's just wait and see. Alright, now that we've finished all of the foreplay, let's get to the actual review. With the new DLC came 5 new characters, but today we're only going to be focusing on the free paid DLC characters. Toji, Student Gojo, and Student Geto. Let's start with Gojo. He's got the most straightforward skill set to use as well as explain. First up, we have Gojo's basic combo, which looks pretty great and incorporates blue nicely. Due to Student Gojo not having reverse curse technique, this version of Gojo cannot use red or purple, causing most of his moveset to be made of different varieties and versions of blue, which I think are used pretty interestingly. Up next, we have Gojo's R1 technique, which comprises of Gojo using blue to pull an enemy in before 2 kicks and a flurry of punches. With a nice amount of range and not requiring the most timing or skill, this technique is extremely good for closing distance or opening up a combo. On the other hand, Gojo's R2 technique is a technique which requires very good timing to actually get right and just a dash of skill. When pulled off correctly, not only does it do an immense amount of damage, but it is also extremely difficult to avoid. I would say though, a big drawback is the placement is kind of wonky. So if you don't place it the exact right way, you might miss quite a lot of the time. Here we have Gojo's extraction technique, which is pretty simple and pretty effective. It is simply a small use of blue to pull an enemy in to set up a combo or to prolong an existing combo. Gojo's triangle extraction technique isn't really worth talking about as it's pretty much exactly the same as a circle extraction but with an added kick to knock an enemy away. Now for us to look at Gojo's gimmick. This version of Gojo has a pretty, I don't know how to say. Some people might find it very annoying, some people might find it very interesting. Its gimmick is a reference to the actual anime where Gojo is unable to use reverse curse technique until Toji stabs him into little pieces. In my opinion, I don't really know how I feel about it, but the gimmick consists of Gojo not being able to use any type of ability revolving around reverse curse technique until he has been knocked down at least once. This removes his joint attack and his ultimate from his normal skill set, which to us I think makes him kind of annoying to use until you get knocked down once, and the team gauge makes it a bit of a problem using this version of Gojo, but I can make it work. Before we look at Gojo's ultimate and his joint attack, I want to look at his other gimmick, his Infinity. Student Gojo's Infinity has two main differences from the original Gojo's Infinity. The first is that instead of guarding to charge it, you must stand still. The second difference is that while this Gojo's Infinity only charges 1 bar, the original Gojo's charges up to 5 bars. What this means that in conjunction with Student Gojo's other abilities, Student Gojo is far more tuned to a aggressive playstyle, while the original Gojo is far better for a defensive playstyle. Moving on, we now have this Gojo's 2 joint attacks, one by himself and one with the other DLC character Subaru Geto. Gojo's joint attack is a recreation of his use of red during his second fight with Toji, and it looks pretty amazing, does justice to the actual scene from the show, in my opinion. If you've been paying close attention to my B-roll, you've probably already seen a lot of this attack, but this is my second favorite joint attack overall of the game. Gojo and Geto's joint attack together.
Here I come. Curse technique amplification. Maximum output. Blue. Nailed it.
was a bit much.
I feel like these kind of joint attacks are really where this game strives, and in future content and DLC, this is where they really should be aiming with all of their skill points, is making the best joint attacks they can. Finally, to conclude the Gojo section of this video, let's look at Gojo's most iconic move, Hollow Purple. Like his joint attack, this move can only be used once you've died at least once using this character. Like his joint attack, I think this move is a pretty awesome recreation of the actual move from the show. Most of the moves in this DLC are from the show, and I think most of them are done pretty well and pretty accurately. Like Toji, now that I've dissected Gojo, let's move on to Geto. Starting off with Geto's basic combo, I really like it. It's a nice few punches with a cool little squid shot. Geto's moveset is not as complex as Gojo's, but takes a little bit better timing and more skill to utilize effectively. Geto's R1 technique is a simple blast. There's not too much to say about it. Needs good timing to get right, and is not the most accurate when your opponents are moving. There is also a running variant of it, which looks really cool, but to my knowledge, there is no difference in damage. Let's take a look at Geto's triangle extraction. It's a nice simple domain, which stabs anyone who attacks inside it with a bunch of scissors and razors. It's very annoying to go up against, but it's very satisfying and nice to use. I love it, to be honest. Next up, we have Geto's triangle extraction, which uses that weird worm cursed spirit to knock an enemy away. Very good to buy some time while your cursed energy recharges, or just to knock them away when they're applying pressure. While the triangle extraction is pretty good, I think the circle extraction is a lot better. It's a lot more useful for recharging cursed energy, and it just looks a little bit cooler. Remixing another scene from the anime, we have Geto's joint attack, which I think looks pretty awesome. It's the simple domain from his R2 attack. I do wish that they wouldn't reuse the cursed spirits so much on Geto's moveset, as with curse manipulation, there's such a massive array of different curses that Geto could use, but we can't have everything we want in life. Finally, to close out the Geto section of this video, let's take a look at Geto's ultimate ability.
Go! Rainbow Dragon!
Looks like I overdid it.
In all honesty, there's really not that much to say about this ultimate. It's a pretty nice looking attack, does good damage, looks great. There's not much to say about it. And with that comes an end to the Geto section of the video. I've been saving the best for last, so now let's look at the best. My favorite character in this game, Toji. To be honest, probably my favorite character in anything in general. To be honest, I would probably say he's just the best character in the game, flat out. He's the one I main. I pretty much wipe anything that comes up against me using Toji. I'd say he has the best moveset. Of course, the best character would have the best moveset. Best looking moveset. Everything about Toji in this game is perfect, besides one little nitpick, which is I think some of his animations look a little bit weird in certain moments, but if you can ignore that, this is the perfect character. They need to continue, and they just need to use this character as a blueprint for any future characters they add to this game. Now that the glazing is finished, let's take a look at his basic combo. The combo consists of 2 slashes, followed by a dash and another 2 slashes. In honesty, I would give it a 10 out of 10 in terms of style points. Moving on to Toji's R1 technique, we find it is split into 3 different variants depending on your angle and your positioning. The default variant of this technique is a nice upward slash, which does well to set up an aerial combo. On a far less useful note, we have the second variation of this technique, which is a weird kind of side attack, which is triggered by enemies being to your side, above you, and to be honest, it's pretty hard to land consistently, and most of the time I do it, it's by accident. I don't really ever think I do this on purpose. Keeping with this video's theme of saving the best for last, let's take a look at the final variation of this move. This variation is caused by pressing R1 while dodging or while positioned above your opponent. It is very accurate and pretty good to maneuver, and when combining it with the extraction technique, it is fantastic. Toji's R2 attack has multiple variants like his R1, but only has 2 variants instead of 3. By default, this move has incredible range and is very good at closing distance. The first variation also has quite a lot of knockback, working good for some crowd control and trying to get out of a tight situation. Mashing square lets you use the second variant, which adds on a new combo to the end of the move. Pretty good for just absolutely annihilating an enemy and really just rushing them to the finish when they're on low health. Although this added on combo does make the attack kind of lengthy, making you pretty vulnerable if you're in a team battle or a rush battle. Now on to Toji's extraction techniques. He has two different varieties, and to be honest, the second one is 1,000 times better than the extraction technique 1. Extraction technique 1 for Toji is pretty much same as every other character's extraction technique 1. Just adds a little bit of distance, doesn't do any damage, just good to knock an enemy away. It looks really cool though. If Toji was a sandwich, his extraction 2 technique would probably be the bread. It works perfectly to set up almost every other attack in his moveset, especially the R1 technique. It also works extremely well to evade attacks. There's another variant of Toji's second extraction technique, which is used to nullify cursed techniques by holding down while pressing circle. To be honest, I love this move. It is extremely useful, especially with the new Geto simple domain.
Here I go.
Looking a tiny bit janky at some points, but still overall looking completely fantastic. I love Toji's joint attack. It also does a good job, in my opinion, of replicating some of the panels from the manga or frames from the show. Now it is finally time to end off the Toji section of this video by taking a look at his ult attack.
It's over.
With Toji's ultimate, you get to do to people what Toji thought he would do to Gojo in their rematch. Unfortunately, he got turned into the Apple logo, but he's still the best character in the show and this game, so. And that's it. We've now reviewed the entirety of the Hidden Inventory DLC. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it, please subscribe. This is my first video after all, and I'll see you in another one, innit? Bye.